Hey there, my name is Kevin Butler, and I'm a certified professional ergonomist that works for Steelcase, and this is the Steelcase Leap chair. Now, Leap is one of the highest performing ergonomic task chairs on the planet. Today, what we're going to do is we are going to walk through exactly how you adjust the Leap chair, but we're also going to cover why you would want to adjust it in a very particular way to optimize your comfort. The Leap chair has a seat height, it has a tension knob, it has a variable backstop as well as a back lock, it has a seat pan depth adjustment, it has a lower back firmness knob, an adjustable lumbar support, and 4-dimensional arm supports. So, with all that adjustability, where do we start? Let's start with the seat height. So, I'm going to sit down in the chair, and I'm going to look over here to the right, and there's a paddle that says seat height. In order to adjust the seat height, you're going to want to pop out of the chair just a little bit, pull the lever up, and the chair rises. Now, in order for the seat height to go down, I stay in the chair and pull up on the lever, and the chair drops. Now, where should the seat height be placed? The seat height is perfect when your thighs are approximately parallel to the ground and your feet drop directly below the knees or out in front just a little bit. So for me, this is perfect. Okay? Now, the next one we're going to go to is on the other side. This is the seat pan depth adjustment. This seat pan adjusts 3 inches. And the way I do it is I pop out of the chair just a little bit, and I now have the ability to move that seat pan. Now, where should the seat pan be set? The only criteria that I have as an ergonomist is that the front edge of the seat pan doesn't come into contact or collide with the back of your knee. You don't want to have the seat pan out too far. Now, what's too far? A lot of people measure this in finger widths. 2 or 3 finger widths will suffice for figuring out what's enough space between the front edge of the seat and the back of the knee. So for here, I could use a little bit more seat depth. So I'm going to do what I did before, out 1 more. I'm going to tuck all the way back in the chair and test. And that's perfect. It's that simple. Okay? Now, I'm going to bring my attention over to this knob and this paddle, which are kind of together on the front part of the chair. This is the variable backstop or the recline limiter and the upper back force or the tension of the chair. So let's first cover the paddle, which is the recline limiter. Now, all the way pushed down is the chair is fully open. And what I mean by that is I can sit upright, I can push all the way back, I can come all the way up, and I can stop anywhere in between. Okay? That is the fully open position or paddle all the way down. Every time I bring a click up, it's going to actually limit how far back I can recline in the chair. If that's a preference that you desire, go ahead and set that accordingly. Now, the last thing I want to cover is upright lock. The paddle all the way up is going to lock the chair virtually upright. Now, again, as a certified professional, I would like you to try keeping the chair fully open or the paddle all the way down. Now, if you're somebody who knows or insists on the chair has to be upright, it has to be locked, that's the only way that you know how to work or that you can work, perhaps there's a pre-existing condition. If that's your situation, bring the paddle all the way up and the chair will be locked upright. Now, if you don't necessarily have a particular preference, again, my recommendation is push the paddle all the way down. The chair is totally open. And now you're going to move your attention over to this knob right here called the upper back force or the tension, and we're going to look for the sweet spot. Now, the sweet spot is where I can sit upright, I can recline all the way. Here's the trick. I can come halfway up and stop and be fully supported. Now, what does fully supported mean? Fully supported means that I don't drop out of the chair, and it also means that the chair doesn't fly up. If that's the case, the tension isn't quite set perfectly for your upper body. For me, this is really close. So if I come back up halfway, I could use a teeny bit less, meaning the chair was kind of pushing me just a teeny bit. So a little bit left, and I try it again, and that's it. Now I have the choice of whether I want to sit upright, a little bit reclined, all the way reclined, because that sweet spot should be perfect every single time. It's that simple, okay? So what do I do now? Let's move our attention to the backrest. We're going to look at the lower back force knob, and we're going to look at the adjustable lumbar. So right here is the lower back firmness knob, and it turns. Now, you want to start with this all the way to the left. This is all the way loosened. Now, what the lower back firmness knob does is it will gradually and subtly change the amount of bolster in the lumbar back, okay? So, again, sitting all the way back in the chair, reclining slightly, start to turn this knob, and you'll begin to feel that cinching of the low back. Now, where should you set this knob? If you find that the adjustment is subtle, or you can't really feel a huge difference from start to finish, my recommendation is just crank it all the way to the right. Stop. Try that. And if that's not something, if that feels good, then I would leave it right there. You may feel like you want to loosen it a little bit, but most folks that I talk to prefer it in the completely tightened position. Just a little bit of a tip from me to you. Now, what about this adjustable lumbar? Well, I've got control over where this goes. I've got several inches of adjustability. Where should the adjustable lumbar be? Well, it needs to be in what we call the small of your back. It needs to be right in the apex of the lumbar spine. Where it curves in the most, that's where you want the adjustable lumbar support to be if your chair has an adjustable lumbar support. So I'm going to come back here again, tuck all the way back in the chair, recline a little bit, and it's almost perfect right now. Now I'm going to lower it just a teeny bit, come back in here, and it's perfect. It's that simple, okay? The last thing I want to cover are armrests. Now, armrests. These armrests, as I mentioned before, have 4 degrees of freedom, or 4 levels of adjustment. There is a button on either side of the armrest that if I engage that button and hold it in, the chair arm moves fluidly from approximately 7 to 11 inches from the seat pan. And both arms will do that. Now, each armrest also moves laterally. Each armrest twists, and each armrest moves forward and backward. Now, that's a lot of adjustability. So where should the armrest go? Well, if you're somebody who enjoys using an armrest, if you feel like the armrest does an amazing job supporting your arm, offloading the muscles in the shoulder, that's fine. Just make sure, my only criteria here is that you don't use the armrest as a crutch. Now, what's a crutch? A crutch is where the armrest is brought up too high and we rely on the armrest, causing awkward postures and potentially some compression or some contact stress here at the elbow. So again, if you like the armrests, bring them up and in just enough so that the arms can get the support they need, the muscles can offload the way that you need them to, but you're again not using them as a crutch, okay? And that's it. I really hope this video was helpful in helping you optimize your Steelcase Leap chair. Thank you so much for listening. Good luck, you can do it, and please stay safe.